on DAB+, online, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker.
EFL Fan Network
On talkSPORT2.
Welcome to the EFL Fan Network show on talkSPORT2, a show for all football fans who love the Championship, League One and League Two. I'm your host, Justin Beattie, and each week I'll be discussing all of the biggest talking points, news and views from around the Football League with the most important people, you, the fans. talkSPORT has created a home for club-dedicated podcasts, the talkSPORT Fan Network. These are podcasts made by the fans, for the fans, so that every supporter can hear about the latest stories from their club. These podcast hosts will join me each week and discuss the biggest stories from their club. If you like what they're saying, then make sure you give their podcast a listen. OK, let's start with Luton Town, who haven't found a return to the Championship particularly easy. 4 games into the 2024-25 season, 3 in the EFL Championship and 1 in the Carabao Cup. And Luton have failed to win any of them. In midweek, Luton lost on penalties to Queen's Park Rangers in the second round of the Carabao Cup, despite Rob Edwards playing a strong 11. Luton only has 1 point from their opening 3 league games, and they haven't won a competitive fixture since April, and have only won 6 of their last 50 games. Let's speak to Finley Cannon from the Oak Road Hatters podcast. Hello, Finley. Why are Luton finding it so difficult to pick up points this season?
I mean, if I knew the immediate answer to that, I'd probably be in the dugout instead of in the crowd. But nothing seems to have been going our way so far this season. It's either a moment of madness from the keeper, or it's just the shots not going over the line or reaching the players. The cross is not reaching the players in the box, but nothing seems to be clicking yet. And it's obviously, as you mentioned there, been quite a long time since we last won a game.
Is this a hangover from last season then, do you think?
I mean, it very well could be. There was, obviously when our form dropped significantly last season, we started getting on a poor run of games towards the end of the season. Obviously, you mentioned there we haven't won since April. I think it's been difficult for everyone to find that winning feeling again, and I think it's probably the downwards momentum has hit us harder than we expected. We've got players back from injuries. So injuries were an issue, obviously, last season, but we've got quite a lot back now, and it still doesn't seem to be quite clicking.
So Rob Edwards, a manager that I'm familiar with, being a Watford supporter, are Luton still fully behind him, or do you think some might be starting to lose patience with him?
I think you'll struggle to find a manager who has more credit in the bank and support from the fans of his club than Rob Edwards, just purely because of what he did for us, getting us to the Premier League, and then the way he's handled himself and the way he's acted in what has been obviously incredibly tough circumstances in various situations. Obviously, the Lockyer situation first and foremost. So you're going to struggle to find Luton fans that aren't fully behind Edwards, or even fans that are likely to turn on him at any time soon. But there is some frustration that the results aren't coming. But I think it's just that once that first result comes, I think everyone will be right behind it and really see a change happening.
He's still got the backing of the board, though, has he?
I mean, as far as we're aware, I believe the board are fully behind him, and it'd be surprising if they weren't.
Well, after relegation from the Premier League last season, Hatters boss Rob Edwards admits it's important to build a winning mentality again.
There's been a lot right about a lot of our games, and you could see it tonight. Everyone that was here would see that. I think that's why the supporters at the end stayed with us, and they're, clapping the boys because they can see the effort, the intensity. There's a lot of good quality there today as well, but we've got to find that. We've got to find that win. But we're going the right way about it. The performances are really important to us, because if we weren't performing and we were losing, I'd be very, very concerned. We're going to continue to build and get stronger in these coming weeks. I'll be happy once this window closes. We can get to work with the group.
So, you face QPR again this Friday. Queen's Park Rangers boss Marty Fuentes expects Luton to be tougher. Do you expect this to be the first win of the season for the Hatters?
I mean, under the lights at Kenilworth Road, we always do particularly well, and I think we need it to be the win just to get some momentum and get that winning feeling back. It's a massive game for us. Obviously, QPR don't love us, and I mean, there's no, I mean, there's not much affection between the two sides. Obviously, a bit more than we have with your lot down the road. Um,
Yeah.
but I can see it being the first win. I think we need that one. We need the opening goal, and I think that if we get that opening goal, the momentum should carry us through, and I can see us getting a result there. But we do need to be careful of some of the threats of QPR. We saw them particularly when they came on in the second half. So the likes of Karamoko Dembele looked really dangerous when he came on.
Yeah. Leicester are reportedly ready to make a £10 million bid for goalkeeper Thomas Kaminski. He's a player you would like to see stay at Kenilworth Road, presumably.
It's an unusual one because he's 31, so he's obviously not getting any younger, and he's a brilliant shot stopper. But I think his distribution has been found out, particularly with that first yellow card he got against Portsmouth. But so late in the window, it's risky letting someone of his importance go. And unless we have someone lined up to replace him immediately, I think, yeah, it would be quite a big risk, and I'd like to see him stay. However, £10 million for a 31-year-old goalkeeper who's only played one season in the Premier League is probably quite a hard offer to turn down.
Do you think the transfer window's been a bit of a distraction? Rob Edwards has said, "I'll be really pleased when the transfer window closes on Friday and we can get to work with the people we've got." Do you think that the transfer window's been a significant distraction to the start of your season?
I think it's as much of a distraction for us as it is for any side, really. We've obviously had some big performers last season who are attracting interest and have attracted interest, the likes of obviously Ted and Mengi, who's been linked with various moves elsewhere. We lost Ross Barkley. Obviously, you mentioned there Kaminski. So, yeah, I can see it being a distraction, and you lose that sort of certainty about who's going to be in the next team because there's any chance that someone could come in and get them. But it's not really an excuse because every team is going through the same thing. So it's just, I don't know. I think once it closes, there will be sort of some solidity and there will be some consistency as well, I think.
What's going to constitute a good season for you this season, would you say?
I mean, I think we've got to be going for another promotion push. I would be happy with playoffs, but I know a lot of fans are hoping for automatics just because of what we did last season, obviously being in the Premier League and being that team that went down in we were the third side to be relegated, but we showed a lot of good things at times. So, I mean, having a promotion push, I think, is really, really necessary, and I think we need to be in and around the top six.
It's one of those things, though, isn't it, with promotion to the Premier League? It's, once you get there, if you have a season like you had last season, you think, all that, getting there's one thing, but then sustaining it and staying up's quite difficult. Yeah,
it was difficult to enjoy a lot of games at times. Obviously, when you get some of the big boys come around, the likes of Man City, and you can see they're going to put a few past you.
Yeah.
So we had that Haaland situation in the FA Cup where he just decided it was just going to be probably one of his best performances, and he put 5 past us.
Yeah.
So there's a situation where you go up and then you think, oh, this is going to be great. And then, you start conceding a lot more goals than you're used to and you're struggling to get results. And I think it's something Ipswich are probably going to experience this season, despite the fact that they've invested a lot of money.
Excellent stuff. Finley Cannon from the Oak Road Hatters podcast, thank you very much for coming on the EFL Fan Network.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.